Paradise is known to be the place for Bachelor alums to fall in love.
Everything worked out exactly how it's supposed to.
But with a short time frame of just 2 months, producers may have pushed some of these couples to seal the deal in their relationship a bit too early. Caelynn and Dean. When these two lovebirds came onto the beach to fill in the host's shoes of prepping the season 7 couples to get engaged, Dean revealed on his Help I Suck at Dating podcast that producers had actually encouraged him to pop the question as well. They pulled him aside just a day before asking if he would join the rest of the happy couples. The former season 13 Bachelorette contestant was shocked by this suggestion, responding with, "Are you serious? You're telling me this like literally the day before we're supposed to go down and film this episode?" Dean ended up not taking the offer and concluded that producers are not bashful at all when encouraging the contestants to make this life-changing decision. But the fact that producers even brought this up to Dean just shows how far he has come since his first go-around at the resort. In season 4, the then 26-year-old was notorious for being the biggest player, having flip-flopped between Kristina and Danielle the entire time. Last season, he made a comeback, still establishing himself as a commitment phobe, so much so that he actually dumped Caelynn on her birthday to ensure she would still get the opportunity to find a long-lasting relationship that she had always dreamed of.
Our lifestyles are not going to be compatible coming out of this, and I don't want to give you something that isn't going to make you happy.
But as we know, he eventually came back and they left the resort attached at the hip for 2 years. Caelynn had changed his perspective on relationships to say the least, as they even got promise rings for each other. Although Dean still admits he doesn't aim for a traditional partnership, but he is known for changing his mind very quickly, so who knows? Maybe he would come around to pop the question one day, just probably not when he only has 1 day to prepare. Demi and Kristian. In season 5, Demi made Bachelor history by not only inviting an outsider, Kristian, who has never been a part of the franchise, to join Paradise, but she also started conversations as they became the first same-gender couple to form a relationship. Their love was so strong that they got serious really fast, to the point where Demi felt comfortable proposing to Kristian at the end.
Will you marry me? Of course I will.
Kristian happily accepted, but that wasn't enough. She thought Demi should get a ring as well. This made it the perfect opportunity for producers to encourage Kristian to surprise her fiancé with a proposal of her own at the reunion.
Will you marry me?
After all, season 6 was one of the ones where not many strong relationships came out of it, so producers may have thought the episode needed the extra spice. While Demi looked overjoyed, in tears, as her fiancé got on one knee, she revealed later in the Almost Famous podcast that she was actually pretty mad about it, saying, "That made me irritated because I'm a selfish person sometimes, and that was my thing. I was like, I proposed to you, you know? And then I was like, why'd you do it?" The at the time 24-year-old even went as far as saying she didn't like the ring, and the idea of proposing back was weird. Perhaps that was already a sign things were going south, because they eventually announced their split in October of 2019. The reality star explained that she simply fell out of love, saying, "She was so good to me, and that would make me feel guilty, because I was like, I'm not feeling the same anymore, and I feel bad that I don't feel the same anymore, because I made a commitment to you. I feel like a garbage human being." Demi explains that once you fall out of love, everything they do becomes irritable. Kristian has since moved on in a new relationship, while Demi came back for round 2 on Paradise's 7th season. Derek and Taylor. These two were fan favorites from season 4 of Paradise. After a tumultuous time on her Bachelor season, audiences could see how much happier Taylor had become after falling in love with the Iowa native, but she still was not ready for an engagement towards the end. Taylor Nolan later spilled in the Almost Famous podcast that she didn't want an engagement at all. In fact, after they left Paradise, they were not even exclusively together, as they were still figuring things out, with Taylor being in Seattle and Derek was in Iowa, so it seems super weird that he would propose to someone who didn't even want to commit wholeheartedly. At the reunion, he got on one knee and asked Taylor to marry him, to which she agreed. Looking back, Taylor reflected that she actually shook her head partially in disbelief, but partially because she knew she was not ready. Taylor even mentioned she had to wear the ring out so people didn't suspect problems in the relationship. After their engagement, they still had the same issues, so they decided to call it quits nearly a year later. Since then, Derek has tried to find love on Paradise in season 5 with Demi, which we know didn't last, but second time's a charm, and he is now engaged to model Saffron Vader. Taylor dated a mystery man afterwards, but is now single. Katie and Chris. These two were an unexpected couple on Paradise, but fans started to adore them after seeing how cute they were.
I like you a lot. and I tell you that all the time.
Plus, it was Chris's 6th appearance on the franchise. If anyone deserves love, it's him. Perhaps that's what the producers pitched to him when Paradise was coming to an end in an effort to pop the question. Even though the two had a lot of communication issues, they still decided to go ahead with the proposal, but that fairy tale ending did not last long. At the reunion episode, Katie largely blamed the producers manipulating the scenario for things falling apart. For one, she was locked in her trailer for 6 hours before taping, so she was not allowed to communicate with Chris. Then, they took her engagement ring away even though she wanted to wear it, and gave it back when they felt it was the right time. This stressed Katie out, and she would cry when asked about it. Katie mentions the producers' intentions was to put a spotlight on how much trouble the two were having in their relationship, so they brought her out alone without a ring, where she talked about how she wasn't getting enough clarity in her relationship with Chris.
When we already have these conversations,
And nothing changes.
I mean, when is it supposed to change?
This left him blindsided when he came out trying to portray a happy image. The two left in disagreement without getting clarity on their relationship, but still not giving up. Katie pinpoints the reunion for the start of the downfall, revealing that he never forgave her for blindsiding him and taking her ring off in the show. By the end of 2019, they had ended their relationship as well. They have since unfollowed each other on Instagram, with Katie saying it was a traumatic experience for her, but she's grateful for the lessons learned. Lace and Grant. Taking it all the way back to season 2, Lace and Grant were a solid couple since their 2nd day of Paradise.
That's why I fell in love with you, and that's why I had to tell you that I love you.
In fact, they got matching tattoos with their couple name, Grace, on their arms to mark their solidarity when they went on a date. Although it was likely a producer that had set that up too. But on the morning of their engagement, Grant actually expressed he had a lot of doubts, letting Lace know that he wants to marry her, but there are still a lot of factors that come into play. Fearing that she might leave single, Lace was crying in the fantasy suite the morning of her engagement. Plus, there was a lot of resistance on her side as well. She originally really didn't want to get the tattoos, but it looks like they both caved under the pressure from producers because they left as fiancés. That title did not last long, as they broke up a few months later. Lace revealed to ET that for a month we were kind of starting to bicker, and it was a thing of something's gotta give. She added it was a cycle we couldn't break. I think he's an amazing man. I'm super sad that it ended, but I know it's for the best right now. It looks like the two still have a lot to work on. Lace is still currently single, while Grant followed a career in music and found love with a woman named Kelsey. Sometimes happy endings don't happen naturally. They need a little fairy tale magic from producers, but be warned, their powers may come with a price, as proven by many of these couples. Do you think producers take it too far? Which couple should not have gotten engaged? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video if you want to stay up to date on the latest reality TV news, and we'll see you next time on The Things Reality.